They talked me into stopping for donuts at Yoder's, which we've done a few times before. It's a few days before Christmas, so we say hello and Merry Christmas to the Salvation Army bell ringer outside.
Good morning. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Allison Morrissey,
Could you spell your last name?
Morrissey.
All right. What would you like me to know?
It was Thursday afternoon, about 4:30 p.m. And my two girls and I were heading to Sturgis for my oldest tumbling practice. They talked me into stopping for donuts at Yoder's, which we've done a few times before. It's a few days before Christmas, so we say hello and Merry Christmas to the Salvation Army bell ringer outside. Upon entering the store, we see their 12 Days of Christmas giveaway, and I fill out a piece of paper to enter. The girls notice that they have an elf hidden somewhere in the store, so as we make our way over to the bakery side for donuts, they are looking for the hidden elf. My girls decide on a donut to share, and I grab a box to fill. I set the box down briefly and put on the provided plastic food gloves and get ready to open the first case to get their donut. As I'm putting on the glove, I am shoved into the glass donut case and see glass shatter in front of my face. In the time it takes to be body slammed into the case and for me to turn around, I see a man running for the door and yelling as he exits. I stand there in disbelief for a moment and see my bleeding hands cut from the glass. I quickly ask my girls if they are okay. They are silent, but manage to tell me they are physically okay. A male customer approaches me and asks if I know that guy, and I say no, I've never seen him before in my life. This kind man then takes off running after the man who just shoved me. Another customer, a female, and two employees tend to my care. One asked, "Do you want me to call 911?" And my response was, "Yes, please." The customer and other employee took me and my girls into a bathroom around the corner to help clean me up as we waited for the police and the EMTs. I'm in utter shock, confusion, and just running on adrenaline. I must have asked my girls if they were sure they weren't hit about 50 times. My oldest, only 8, I'm so incredibly proud of her. We've practiced making emergency calls before, but thankfully never had to utilize it until this day. I instructed her to call Daddy and my mom. She was so calm and relayed the necessary information to both. I fully believe her staying calm helped her younger sister, only 6, to also stay calm. This in turn helped me. I get my hands all cleaned and bandaged up and head back out to the main bakery area to wait for anyone to arrive. At this point, I've noticed that the vest I was wearing was ripped in a couple places from the impact, and my knees are really starting to bother me. My mom arrives first, and I have a brief moment of relief and cry as I hug her as she takes my babies away from the area. Then the police arrived and told me that the man had already been detained thanks to the description given by the employee through dispatch and the customer who went after him. He claims he tripped, and I guess that's what he yelled as he ran away. The employee was phenomenal in making sure I'm okay and providing her witness statement and guiding officers to view the surveillance. EMTs arrived and brought me outside to check me out. It's starting to rain outside, and I'm still running on adrenaline. Prior to them arriving, I had my daughter take photos of my face and shoulder, which are both red from impact. The police climb aboard the ambulance and do the same, as well as photograph my hands and knees. I'm shaking as I sit in the ambulance when my husband finally arrives, having to leave in the middle of work. We decided to go to the hospital ourselves and not take up an ambulance for someone who might really need it, as I'm able to walk, though with a lot of pain. I say goodbye to my mom and babies, and off to the hospital I go. I had to sit for a couple hours in the waiting room before being taken back to a room. As I sat, my head began pounding, and I had to ask for some pain medication. My knees are throbbing as I sit in a wheelchair, and I asked for an ice pack. I received both, and to just touch the ice gently to my knee was excruciating. Once back in a room, I've now had to explain my situation for the 5th time. My husband and I are sitting in our room, and I'm just trying to deep breathe through the pain and the thoughts of what just unfolded hours ago. I'm sent back for a head CT due to the impact of my face and x-rays for both of my knees. Thankfully, all my scans come back clear, and I just need all these cuts and bruises to heal. Once I finally make it home to my babies, now 11:30 p.m., and send my mom home, the toll on my children begins. The whole time I'm at the hospital, my mom is with them, and I keep asking if I'm okay. I chat with them briefly on the phone to help calm their nerves, while also helping calm mine. But what's home is where it really begins. The nightmares, causing both my children to have to sleep with me at night. Me holding them tight as they tell me it was very scary. The emotional toll really doesn't hit me until the next morning. Being pregnant twice before, never have I ever experienced so many emotions or the amount of crying. My youngest looks like she's seen a ghost and starts acting out. Her being fixated on something so much she's in full tantrum and hysterics if she doesn't get her way. When I finally get her calmed down and figured out it has nothing to do with what she's fixated on, she tells me I don't want it to happen again. I'd gone to the salon where my mom works to get a pedicure because I needed something normal and just for me. Knowing my mom was there was comforting. I didn't feel like I could be alone, and I still don't. My husband takes the children to the store after dropping me off to get the groceries we were unable to get the night before. Once home, my youngest tells me she saw a man that looked like him, and I don't want it to happen again. Knowing what she meant by this, she must have seen an African-American man, as that's who assaulted me. Being a Christian woman and a homeschooling mom, I've taught my children that God says there's only one race, the human race. I had to be mom and talk about how we know there are bad people in the world, and some of those bad people want to hurt us. That's why we stay close to mommy when out. But there are also more good people within the world, like those that helped us that night. And while I can't say it'll never happen, we have to always choose to see the good in people because that's what God wants. The nightmares continue for my children and myself. Being so close to Christmas, I'm not now looking forward to it, but I have to for my children. While I'm currently scared to be alone, loud noises scared me. Someone coming up from behind me just to check on me makes me jump. I can't let this man control my life. I'm a mom, and for that reason, I feel like I'm carrying 3 times the weight of emotions and trauma as my kids were involved. Christmas with family afterwards is something I wasn't prepared for. I feel as if he took my independence and sense of security away. I've sought guidance from a counselor to help me process the events and to help my children heal. The 2 things she suggested I do with my girls are 1, ask them what was the worst thing that happened, and 2, picture a pie. It has 8 slices. We'll call this the responsibility pie. How many pieces of pie does each person or persons get? Who is to blame or responsible for what happened? Mom, you, sister, or the man? Both of my children answered the same for both when sitting down separately with myself and my husband. The glass breaking was the worst part because it hurt mommy, and the man gets all 8 pieces of the pie. And my youngest clearly saw more than what she claims, as she gave me a complete description of what the man was wearing. My oldest remembers a black blur because it was so fast. Images they will never be able to get out of their heads at just 8 and 6 years old. While my face is finally healed, the knot on my bruised shoulder still remains, which after returning to the doctor for a checkup shows the knot is actually a hematoma that's formed. My thigh and left knee bruising are fading, and while my right knee remains the worst from the impact, my hands still bear cuts, and I'm reminded every day of the horrific trauma we experienced while just minding our business. The bruises and cuts will heal, but the scar that's been left in my heart is permanent. I'm a strong woman and will overcome this. I have to for my girls. I won't let him get away with stealing my independence or security. I'm labeled now as a victim, but I choose to be a survivor. I've told my girls that jail is grown-up timeout for when grown-ups do something wrong and need to be punished. We're resting easier at night knowing he is where he should be and not harming anyone else. My youngest says, I hope he's in timeout for a long time, and if it's his birthday, that they don't give him any birthday cake or ice cream as punishment. I can't imagine letting someone out into our world who would go around and assault another human being, let alone a mother and her children, for no apparent reason. I feel safer knowing he's locked up and hopefully remains there for a long time. As I sit here now, a month after the incident, I'm just now starting to feel comfortable with going out by myself or with my children again. I was finally able to allow a friend to give me a quick hug, something I have been guarded against. The idea of physical contact or being surrounded by others makes me nervous, even if those people are friends or family. My injuries are fading, though my right knee now requires physical therapy. I'm hoping that today allows me to feel as though I can breathe again and a weight has been lifted. Only time will tell. I'm a Christian woman, so therefore I don't wish ill will on anyone. However, I also believe in justice to the full extent of the law and pray that this man receives no leniency on the punishment for his crime and that he gets help as a result of his actions. Whatever his claim for his reasoning is no excuse for the torment and random act of violence he carried out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher, you got to hear live and in person what this incident affected on this woman and her family. I did make a referral on the day of your plea, January 2nd, to our local Pivotal. Have you been in contact with Lauren and working with the people at Pivotal here in St. Joseph County?
I've talked to her, but we didn't really talk.
All right, apparently didn't see much. In my notes, I said we need a police report, victim input, and input from the Cass County Department of Corrections. We got the first two, but we don't know what Cass County has in mind. Mr. Fletcher, this is your opportunity to say anything you want me to know. Anything you want to say?
I apologize. I know apologies, sometimes aren't accepted. I just want to let you know that I'm still sorry.
Well, that's a start.
I don't know exactly what happened there because of my mental health issues.
At the first opportunity with a lawyer, you did accept responsibility for it. The charge is aggravated assault. Assault comes in different varieties, from assault and battery up to first-degree murder. Aggravated assault is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. That charge closely fits these facts. It's an injury that requires medical treatment, but it did not involve a weapon and did not involve intent to commit great bodily harm. So the charge fits what I understand the facts to be. And there's a dilemma here. I think I canceled the defendant's bond at the time of his plea. He's been in jail now for 38 days. He's on probation on a felony charge in Cass County. They gave him 365 days in the county jail, which is the most you can do on a felony charge. Anything over 365 days requires a prison sentence. They also then put him on probation. And apparently he was going to go like finish out his probation for a term at the Twin County Community Probation Center in Three Rivers. The twin counties are Cass and St. Joe County. Started that program jointly almost 50 years ago. We now take inmates from and defendants from a number of counties, but it's a Cass St. Joseph County thing. I don't know what happened. The ball got dropped. The defendant got released from the jail, which never should have happened. And now we're seeing the consequence to this lady and her family. It's a strange kind of offense. There's a mental health component to it, to be sure. I don't think no insanity or diminished capacity defense has been raised. The defendant simply accepted responsibility. So all that Cass County has left is either, as Ms. Davis says, to kick him off probation or to institute a prison sentence. Hopefully, if someone commits a aggravated assault while they're on a felony probation, that should be basis for a probation violation. But nobody ever asked. My fear is if I grant 365 days, they may just call it good and discharge him from probation. At that point, there'd be no additional supervision. But we don't know. If I gave him time served, they would be compelled to do something. I would rather he was on some sort of continued supervision in Cass County, but we don't know the answer to that. My fear, as I said, if I simply grant 365 days in jail, he'll do 300 days minus 38, and then he'll be out without any supervision. And there's no sense for me to put him on probation because I would have used up every available day of jail. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to do 100 days jail, credit 38, leaving 62 days to serve, may be released to Cass County Department of Corrections. I'll put to Cass County on detainer. Fine is 0. I referred him for mental health services, and apparently he didn't avail himself of it much. $125 in costs, which are required, or 2 additional days, and I'll reserve as Ms. Davis requested on restitution. Mr. Fletcher, have you heard anything from your probation agent since you've been arrested? This gives them 62 days to do something. As I said, even in the world we're in, I hope an offense like this would warrant a probation violation. Now, what you point out is the randomness of the world we live in. You live in a community that we like and we consider it to be safe. Yoder's might be our favorite place anywhere. If you think of a safe place, that would be it. You're in there on a Thursday with your kids, nothing unusual. Mistakes were made and a lightning bolt strikes and you get shoved through a plate glass cabinet. I've been there. I know exactly where this took place.
She walked into a store with her 2 daughters to grab donuts, then a stranger shoved her into a glass case. Her hands bled, her knees swelled, and her kids stayed quiet from shock. In court, she said the bruises healed, but the fear didn't. She begged the judge no leniency because her children still have nightmares.
I guess we're all subject to the vagaries of randomness. You didn't deserve this, and I hope you can get some healing from this. He wasn't mad at you. This was not focused on you. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the only way we can avoid that is never go anywhere or never do anything. You're going to continue to live your life and do things with your kids and have a family. You can't never go anywhere or never do anything. Mr. Fletcher, you need some significant mental health intervention. I tried to start some and you weren't interested. The probation center, if they hadn't accidentally let you out of jail, might have been a good start for some of that. At any rate, that's my sentence. 100 days, credit 38, leaving 62 days, $125 in fines and costs, or 2 additional days. And you may be released to Cass County on their detainer if they so elect. All right, sir, you can go with the court officer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did get a text during the hearing from Victor Fitz, and he's checking on what Cass is going to do.
Okay,
We'll follow up. So, thank you.
all right, thank you. Time to do that was before the hearing. Mr. George,
Yes, sir.
are you ready on your next case? Mr.
Mr.
Greenwald?
Greenwald is here. Both of mine have pre-sentence reports. I don't know if you want Autumn and Dan here.
Autumn is right behind me,
Oh, okay.
and she'll be in momentarily. As I said, we had 7 cases set. All right, well, we're right on time. It's 10:30. We're double booked this morning. We had all the cases that were set for last Thursday when the court was canceled were rescheduled for this morning, plus the cases that were scheduled for this morning. So we have 7 matters set for sentencing. 3 are drinking driving cases, 3 are assault cases, and 1 is a traffic matter. Mr. Tim George is here with his client, Travis Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher is in custody, has been in custody for 38 days, according to my calculation. Prosecuting Attorney Deborah Davis is present, as well as Assistant Abby Stoll. Let's start with the Fletcher case. It is set for 10:30. Mr. Fletcher was charged with aggravated assault for an incident that occurred at Yoder's on December 19th. He's been in custody, I think, since that time. Defendant is also on probation in Cass County, and I believe was...
The defense argued mental health issues and said the attack may have been a blackout, but prosecutors pointed to surveillance video and the victim's trauma. The judge faced a hard decision: protect the community, reserve restitution, and consider treatment without ignoring the damage done. One random moment changed a family's sense of safety forever.
Headed to the probation center. Mr. George, this is a case I think we needed some help from Pivotal or other mental health services. If I didn't call the case, it's 252602, People versus Travis Fletcher. Mr. George, what's the status here?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've had the opportunity to see some correspondence from Ms. Frank, who's our individual at Pivotal at the jail, as well as some conversations with my client. I think what's clear here is there is significant diagnosed mental health concerns with my client. Since he has been in custody, it's my understanding that he has been medicated, has been stabilizing. He reported to me that when he's not medicated, that he blacks out and doesn't remember periods of time. And I think that was one that was consistent here. He did come in at the first pretrial and enter a plea of guilty to the charged offense. It's my view from talking to him, Your Honor, that this was a cry for help for him. Doesn't justify what he did, but I think it gives the court some reason why he did what he did. But anytime that anybody in the community is affected in this way, Mr. Fletcher understands that it's not acceptable. Going forward, I think there's going to have to be a significant mental health treatment component for Mr. Fletcher. He indicates that he wants to be committed to some type of facility, so he has the ability to access those resources. I think he does have concerns that when he's not in custody, whether he can access his medications that he needs. But I also at the same time understand that he is currently on MDOC probation out of Cass County. So I don't know if this court is, looking to try to put him on any type of supervision here when there's significant supervision over in Cass County. All in all, Your Honor, obviously this is it's not a good situation. The facts are terrible. But I would just ask the court to consider some of the mental health concerns that my client has when making a determination on what's most appropriate. Thank you.
I believe I did make a referral to Ms. Frank at the jail after this plea. And I'm pleased to hear that she's doing a great job. I can't say enough good things about her. She follows up every time I ask her for help. But what's his status with Cass County? Is he still envisioned to be going to the probation center, or do we know what their plan for him is?
Your Honor, I asked him what his understanding of what Cass is going to do, and I don't know that that's clear. Based on some information, and Ms. Davis, if she has more accurate information, can correct me. But I think that there was some type of issue about there was supposed to be a hold or something that was put on the place and not released. And I'm assuming at this point that hold has been corrected. So I would imagine when this sentence is over, Cass is going to deal with it. I don't know specifically what they're going to do, but I think he's going to have to address that Cass County situation.
Yeah, as I understand it, he was improperly released from the jail, went from the jail to Yoder's where this happened. I'm not sure what the status of all that is, but Ms. Davis, you got any more enlightenment for us on this?
Maybe a little bit, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of his PSI from Cass County to kind of reference like what his guidelines were and what their plan.
What was the charge?
So the charges were possession of methamphetamine and malicious destruction of fire and police property and R&O, I believe. Yes. So he was sentenced to confinement for 365 days and then a concurrent probation of 36 months. So his sentencing was in August of 25. The arrest by the Dowagiac Police Department was in February of 2025. So it appears that, from my understanding of all of these different agencies and people involved, that he completed his jail term at Cass, but was then being placed at the Twin County Probation Center. But when he got to the probation center, he said that he didn't think that this was part of the deal. He didn't want to be here, didn't want to do this. And there was some sort of commotion caused, which then caused the jail to the police to come and take him to the jail. And they notified Cass County. It's my understanding that Cass County planned to come over and get him and take him back to Cass County, but there was some sort of confusion with paperwork being faxed over ahead of time, and they released him before Cass County got there to pick him up, which is what led to, yes, him walking through the village of Centerville, looking for a ride in the Dollar General and not getting one, and going into Yoder's and doing what he did. I understand that mental health obviously is an issue. However, these are things that he lied to the officer and said he tripped. And then we have very good video showing that he did not, in fact, trip. This family, mother and the two children, are extremely traumatized over this. Thankfully, there was a lot of people around. Standby, like went and chased him, and they had a good description of him, and he was able to be picked up. But that doesn't cure the issues here. I'm hopeful that Cass County has a straddle cell prison time waiting for him, because he's not safe to be out in the community, obviously. Whether mental health issues or drug issues or a combination thereof, we have serious concerns, and we would ask for the full year in jail for this. The victim would like to speak. She obviously is shaken up over all of this. Other than that, we would ask the court.
You want to hold him in our jail for a year before Cass County does their potential prison commitment?
I don't necessarily want to hold him here for the year, but if he's sentenced, then I can guarantee that he's going to be either here or MDOC. I don't know what Cass County might do on the PV, but I mean,
Well,
he's
the problem is
exhausted.
nobody asked. I was hoping maybe somebody would have talked to Cass County and said, what's the plan here? But we don't know that. But certainly this is a scary circumstance.
And I've been in contact with Cass County since the day this happened. So they are aware of what happened. They were aware of what the bond was set at, and my concerns that if you were to somehow post bond, to make sure that they had their hold in place. So I've not heard back.
So do we believe the Cass County hold is in place?
I'm not sure. They haven't returned my calls.
You're nodding your head. Do you have some knowledge about this?
Say again, Ron?
Hello, Deputy Studebaker. Judge Middleton calling from the bench. Does Cass County have a hold on Travis Devon Fletcher? All right, thank you. Bye. He was supposed to have the detainer as of December 18th, but apparently something happened and he got rearrested. And according to Deputy Studebaker, Cass County placed a detainer on him, a probation detainer on December 19th. So there is currently a detainer for Cass County. So if he were to post bond, he would go to Cass County.
And Your Honor, part of the request for a significant amount of jail time is based on the unknown for Cass County. If he's used up all of his local time. So Cass County probation violation, if they go forward with it, it's either nothing and you continue on probation or you go to DOC. Those are the two options, it appears. And my concern is that if they choose to not send him to DOC and he's just released on probation, that would be a disservice to our community. So also there is restitution that is being requested. However, it's a significant amount of medical bills and the victim does not have everything in order.
All I saw was the $50
That was her vest.
vest.
Yes.
Is
So-
there more?
Yes, she had to go to the hospital. She had CT scan. Her knee is injured from it. So there's a significant amount of medical that will be coming, obviously. Those
But
aren't,
we don't have that yet.
no, she's working on getting the information from the hospital. She went to Three Rivers Health for those tests.
Have they submitted a crime victims' rights claim on her behalf?
I don't know.
Somebody's
Yeah, I was
busting
gonna say,
out of the
somebody's
flooded
busting
back
out.
room.
The back room.
They're probably working on it.
I don't know if they have or not. We can certainly explore that. And obviously with the defendant's situation, getting restitution from him, it's going to be very difficult. But we would just ask that restitution be reserved.
Okay,